is one basket, Nilesh. The other one is financials. If these two engines do well, then likely the Nifty will do well and we'll see a bit of outperformance. Let's talk financials therefore. There's rate cuts which have come through. Growth has started to recover in Q2. How would you play financials?
I think financials are an interesting place to be. I think the banks haven't done much over, say, the last two odd years. But with the kind of benign mood which is coming, or the benign steps which the regulator has taken in, that provides basically again a very, very strong cushion for these banks or lenders to kind of grow at. There's still possible that we might have one more rate cut based on the latest CPI data. And that's probably when NIMs will bottom out. But if I were to kind of look at it beyond December, you would actually see NIMs starting to inch up, credit growth to happen probably in double digits. That's going to be a great situation. I'd probably call it the Goldilocks moment for banks next year.
Okay, let's see whether that's where the token or the Muhurat trades are coming in today. We've got the market opening right now. And it's, it's really about that token, very auspicious trade that people traditionally put in today. Don't expect any meaningful moves, and it's a very, very somber move. Pretty much what we've had at our hands all throughout the year. But the good thing is that it now seems that 26,000 is in sight. We're closing in on that mark at least. So 24,920 thereabouts is where we're currently at. I want to check in on banks. What's ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, what some of the PSU banks are up to, because that's where it seems that the puck is going to move next. The PSBs, that is. ICICI Bank, of course, has cooled off after its earnings. It really turned out to be more of a sell-on-news kind of story. So yeah, the likes of SBI, PNB, let's see what all those spaces are up to and what those stocks are doing. We were talking about the winners from last Samvat to this, and Bajaj Finance clearly is the one which has really come back to the fore, and it's given you almost a return of near 60%, and that's a large cap, the largest NBFC that we're talking about. Maruti, I mean, look how the GST kicker came in for this one, and a large chunk of the move for Maruti has happened only in the last few months. Maruti has also been a standout performer. Interglobe Aviation, pretty much the only one within the listed aviation space and the dominant market share mover as well. Interglobe Aviation, BEL, this year taught us all about the importance and the significance of defense, and BEL clearly was the one strong standout performer with a 46% move. And I should also came to the fore very, very smartly. That stock put on about almost 43%. The one end of the market where perhaps you had at least reason to crib about was maybe the small caps. And I'm not talking about individual movers there. There you have had good returns, but at an index level, it's the small cap index, which from last Samvat to this has given you negative returns. So here's hoping to better returns from the small cap as a pool. It slipped about almost 2.25% in the year gone by. But I also want to talk about the lagging end of the market. We were just chatting with Nilesh about IT. Look at some of the losers there. TCS, for instance, was down 24% from last Samvat to this, or an Infosys for that matter, which has actually weakened about 17%. NTPC didn't do a whole lot, and of course, Trent was the one where you had the most gut-wrenching fall, and that stock lost about almost 32% in the year gone by. Laurus Labs, Manappuram Finance, HBL Engineering, GRSE, Aster DM. These are some of the small caps which have given you stupendous returns. Laurus Labs gave you a return of 87% from last Samvat to this. Aster DM, 60%, and so were the moves on some of the other small caps as well. Look at the mid-cap end of the market. L&T Finance, Fortis Healthcare. We were talking about the wealth effect because of the gold prices being at all-time high. Look at the gold financiers. Muthoot Finance, from last Samvat to this alone, has shot up 71%, no less. BSE, even though last 3 months have been a bit of a chop and churn for BSE, and the stock may not have performed all that well, but patience pays. If you held on to BSE for the last 1 year, you still ended up making a good 68% return. Or the traditional, sin stocks as we call them, Godfrey Phillips, 54% of a return. But Kunal, as you look ahead, what do you think is the most ripe for a mammoth move kind of sector or stock pool?
So private sector banking names, I believe that they've been gross underperformers over the last 3 years and more. And I think you're seeing some green shoots emerging from the underperforming names, the likes of Axis Bank, Kotak Bank. I think these are the new names which have been, because we've been so much dependent on ICICI's and HDFC Bank that, ICICI, Axis and HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank to a larger extent, they've been, sort of left behind. I think these stocks should now play a catch up. The mid-cap and the private sector banking names, we saw very strong moves last week. Yesterday. So you had RBL Bank, Federal Bank, IDC First Bank, etc. I think these are the new set of names which are getting added to the list.
Which is the other structural theme, Kunal? Because on a fundamental perspective, it seems like defense is turning out to be that one consensus pool. Within defense, if you were to expand and go outside the list of the usual Cochin Shipyard and BEL, what stocks would you pick?
There are hardly any new names over here, Aisha. But in terms of other sectors, if you ask me, I would look at metals or commodities as a larger basket, because, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, when you look at the price levels where they are right now and map it over the last 2 or 3 years, they've given flattest returns. And metals as a commodity or as an asset class, they hardly remain range bound for a prolonged period of time. So if we are talking of, exuberance or confidence coming back into the markets, there has to be a point where metals or commodities as a theme should make a strong comeback. And I think in that sense, names like Tata Steel, Hindalco, I think they're high potential names.
Nilesh, I want to go back to the erstwhile favorite theme of yours, which is consumption. Now, means could be whatever, physical, online or whatever, but the consumption, or, you're going to consume the same things. And you've always believed in the consumption story. Anything from within the staples, any of the sin goods, anything that you like?
No, hate to say this on a day like this, but the sin goods as a category still continues
it's addiction.
to... Absolutely.
By the end of it,
You obviously, of course, need to find really the champion there, or somebody who's really going to challenge the might of the top 1-2 players and try and gain market share and emerge to essentially be a winner. So I think those you would continue to be there. That's pretty much something you'll have to be at it and try and keep identifying. But I still think you want to play that structural story. I still believe that platforms will essentially trounce the product companies. I think that's what you need to essentially think. And within the product segment, then look for maybe the names who are the challengers and not the ones who already become champions and become just too expensive. So I think you probably need to have a mix of this approach within the consumption basket. First, bet on platforms. I still believe that's a structural opportunity, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I think platform companies essentially will continue to emerge to be much, much stronger and will emerge to be winners versus conventional product companies.
Because by the end of it, you'll consume what the platforms sell.
Yeah, they control the last mile,
exactly.
right? And they'll pretty much democratize the whole product bouquet for you as a consumer. They will decide what options you need to have, and they will be the guys who will be connecting with you. And actually, AI is going to basically create this whole AI-led or AI-enabled commerce. That again is where platforms will essentially have that edge. So I still believe whichever way you really look at it, whether you look at it in terms of the TAM, in terms of execution, in terms of AI, all of these things will continue to basically help the platform companies grow and emerge stronger. Just that what you need to be focused on is basically your ability to kind of sustain the competitive advantage.
But Nilesh, 2-3 aspects there. There's always a price that you want to pay for platforms. The thing is that time now? Or do you wait for a cool-off and maybe the cool-off never comes?
So, no, I don't think the cool-off never comes. I think cool-offs do come, and it will come especially when you expect it the least.
That'll be a very long wait, right?
Not necessarily. No? It depends. I think more importantly is to take a slightly more longer-term approach.
Sure.
If you take an approach for the next 1 quarter, 1 year, you could be in for disappointment for anything and anything. Okay, it could just be markets in general, sector not kind of finding favor, whatever it is, or companies themselves missing on a quarter here and there. All of these things could lead to downticks. But if you have a 3-year, 5-year horizon, that's really what it is. Today we talk about HDFC Bank doing very well, but it took HDFC Bank almost 25 years of essentially strong double-digit 20% plus growth to kind of become the second largest company in India, right? So these are things which take years and decades and don't happen in a few quarters, and that's probably the approach you'll also have to take for some of these digital-led platform companies.
Is that the same theme you're going to have for defense as well? Because last year we saw defense stocks going up and then they cooled off, but we still have some of the shipbuilders who performed much better in last 1 year.
Yes.
So are you going to see the same thing of holding them for 3 to 5 years before the entire story emerges?
Hard to take a very long-term call on that. But at least, yeah, it looks good at least for this next 3 to 5 years. It does look good. Beyond that, very hard because that's true for any B2B business.
Despite the fact they have multi-year order books with them?
Multi-year order books, but market is not just about survival or sustainable. Market is about growth. So it's not a question of whether you have order book for the next 3 years.
Execution.
After that, what next? Market wants growth. Equity markets is all about growth and capital efficient growth. When you essentially try to kind of convert a big order book into a mega order book, it's not all that easy, right? So you have to be cognizant of that.
So platforms, and more platforms.
Oh,
That's where you
absolutely.
see the growth.
Absolutely. From a more medium to long term perspective.
Sure. And short term?
I still think short term, yes. I think Kunal referred to essentially banks. That's a great place to be. It looks good. Who knows? Reliance essentially seems to be finally coming out. Maybe Reliance essentially can have a very strong shot at that as well.
Yeah, considering it's not done anything. It better start now.
Well, I think the AGM was very interesting, but
Yeah.
they've guided saying they're going to double EBITDA probably over the next 3 years or so. So that is one. Two, potential IPOs, value unlocking.
Yeah.
All of that. So I think there's lots out there. There's earnings growth, there's corporate action, all of that. And then obviously it's coming out from a zone of underperformance. I think it has all those ingredients to potentially do well over the short term.
Okay, Nilesh, always great meeting you on Diwali days. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
happy
Happy
Diwali.
Diwali.
Great Samvat ahead for all. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
On that note, let's take a very quick break and be right back for more.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on this very, very auspicious day. And if you're just tuning in, wishing you and yours a very, very happy Diwali from all of us here in the studio. Let's go across those. Sneh is standing by with the Managing Director and CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy. We'll take it across and cut across to that conversation. Sneh.
Well, yes, so we are here at the Bombay Stock Exchange and joining me is the MD and CEO of BSE, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, sir. Wishing you and your entire team a very happy Diwali and thank you so much for speaking with us at ET now. Give us a sense of what you're expecting from the next Samvat. What is the outlook for Samvat 2082?
See, the Indian, first of all, before I start, happy Diwali to all your viewers and thanks for covering me. Indeed, it's a great situation where we are in. Despite all global situations that we are seeing, India is marching ahead with so much of self-confidence and the numbers that are coming out are evident. We are poised for a 6.5% plus growth. May go to 7 or 8% as well. And the type of agreements that we are signing in a very expeditious way, and the type of structural reforms like GST reforms that we are bringing in, I'm sure the coming year is going to be another very, very, very great year for India. Under the Honorable Prime Minister's guidance, India is fast marching towards Viksit Bharat. It gives a sense of great pride for us standing here in this place, which has been the pedestal of capital market growth for 150 years. Talking about the greatness of our country and the way it is marching forward. Thanks for this opportunity.
And lastly, your message to investors, traders or anybody who's fresh in the market looking to enter, what would your advice be?
Madam, this has been asked by many people and I continue to remain with the same reply. All people, please understand what you trade and trade what you understand. कही सुनी बातों से या fake videos से please मत trade करिएगा. Greed is something which is to be avoided. There are multiple ways of making wealth creation in the capital market. If you do not understand about markets, large cap mutual funds are a good point to start with. Please understand the market. There are a lot of ways in which investor education is currently being provided by the regulators and the exchanges under their guidance. Please take benefit of it. Understand what you trade, trade what you understand. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time and thanks once again for speaking with us at ET now and wishing you a happy Diwali once again. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right. Thank you so much, Sneh, for that. And from one exchange to the other, we also caught up with NSE's MD and CEO, Mr. Ashish Chauhan, on his expectations from markets this Samvat. Listen in to what he expected in terms of the timeline with regard to their listing plans as well.
First of all, happy Diwali and prosperous New Year to all your viewers. In some ways, all the new investors have to be careful. They have to do things within their means, never borrow to invest, never speculate beyond a point. And of course, if you are not an expert, don't trade in derivatives.
One question now which everybody has, the kind of enthusiasm which has been in market, especially in last 1 month, how soon we are scaling new highs, how soon we are passing the September 2024 highs?
No, I think broadly we are there. We have in a way given returns of almost 6.4% compared to previous Diwali. And so in some ways, of course, from September to October, the markets had fallen because of a variety of the global factors, and also that Indian markets had run ahead of themselves in terms of the price earnings and other things. But I think now, when the rest of the world has given much better returns than ours, we are at 6.4%. Nasdaq is probably 25%. Dow Jones is probably 16-17%. The rest of the world has given better returns last Samvat compared to Indian markets, but that is a rare phenomenon. I think we are now catching up, and so next year should be, next Samvat should be better.
So Samvat 2082 can be India's year?
I mean, absolutely, and you have seen in last 5 years, at least 3 years we were beating the world, right? So India is in a way on a run, and there will be some pluses, some minuses. Sometimes we run ahead of the realities, but broadly speaking, next 25, 30, 50 years, we would be performing better than the rest of the world.
You mentioned about rest of the world, and many of the economies are actually struggling at a time when India is growing at a pace of 7.8%. If you talk about the rating agencies, they have upgraded our economy even before the announcements which were made by the government. You talk about GST, the earnings is capturing the same, although the real data will come in January. So how you are assessing the green shoots which are there in the economy currently?
Broadly, there are local factors, there are environmental factors, and then there are global factors. So if you look at the local factors, broadly speaking, last 1 year has, in a way, last one Samvat, we have not done so well. So effectively, your earnings have now become reasonable compared to the prices of the stock. So now, broadly, you are comparable to the world, slightly higher, but naturally, if you're going to grow faster, world gives you better price earnings. The second part is the monsoon, that this year monsoon has been phenomenal across the country, and so India is still dependent on monsoon quite a lot. So in some ways, whatever you have seen, 1 lakh cars or 1,20,000 cars getting delivered yesterday are basically the what you call green shoots or examples of how India is progressing. Of course, all of us will face more traffic jam, but I think that is a good thing to do. And then, of course, the newer chips are being manufactured. Next year, you will see many more sort of things which were the seeds were sown 2, 3, 5 years back, where all those results are going to come. Internationally, we are doing very well on exports because of the iPhone and high-tech manufacturing.
One thing which stood out, especially in this Samvat, has been IPOs, and lately in the last quarter itself, there has been so many listings. The new age companies are coming to the block, and more than that, even the older companies like Tata Capital, and I can name many with the companies which have been listed now. So do you think that this IPO momentum will continue in the next year as well?
Absolutely. See, India is 17% of world population. So it should have 15-20% of world's listed companies. We are not even in that 2-3% range, right? So we have a long way to go, and a growing economy will require many more companies to come to the markets. We have seen companies just manufacturing one single product called Mangal Sutra and gaining huge grounds. Or we have LG, which gave a great returns. Of course, NSDL that came out of NSE fold also gave great returns. But I mean, you can count now many companies that have come with great IPOs over last 1 year.
So there are more to come. But more importantly, how NSE is preparing for the next Samvat, because with more companies, with more investors, of course, the responsibility of NSE increases.
It does. In fact, if you see the last Samvat at this time, India had probably 10.5 crore unique investors. Today we have 12 crore unique investors with 23.5 crore accounts. So literally every investor is having 2 accounts, like every phone user is having 2 SIM cards.
One last question before I let you go is the hope of NSE being listed by many of the investors and stakeholders. We have discussed this many times, but 2082, is it going to be a reality?
No, we have great hopes that in the new Samvat we should be able to list. We are still awaiting the NOC from SEBI. After that, once SEBI gives NOC, probably 8-9 months is what we have planned for. So effectively, if the NOC comes soon, we should be able to list in the next Samvat.
Well, that's, of course, Ashish Chauhan from NSE talking about which way he envisions India up ahead. But if I just look at the year gone by, the one asset class that really shone bright was, of course, gold. Not just gold, but the silver rally also caught on to that. And yes, you know, pretty much across the board, metals also have done well. Look at what's been happening in the Bitcoin market, for instance, barring, of course, those few flip-flops here and there. Kunal, this year gone by taught you about multi-asset allocation, right? And it sort of threw it in your face about how it is very, very critical to have that in one's portfolio. Do you think in the year ahead also one should have gold and silver exposure? And can they give this kind of return as they have in the last 1 year?
Yeah, Aisha. So I think in the last couple of years we were discussing about that potential silver rally that started to play out. I still believe that this is the nascent stage of the rally what we've seen in the silver.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. I strongly believe this is a major multi-year rally what you are looking at for the silver asset class specifically. Yeah, I think in some parts that gold-silver ratio, they will keep on playing, and you might see a phase where gold could outperform, silver underperform, and that will keep on happening. But from here to the next 2-3 years, I see much higher levels for silver prices from here on.
That's a big statement you're making.
And I know what I'm saying, Aisha,
Really?
because I've seen the major asset classes, the way the trends have panned out. You know, silver in 1980s or 85 thereabout was almost at $44, $49. 2011, we were at $49, $50. And only this time around. So we are talking of a 40-50 year breakout for an asset class. And I don't see this as just another 2-month or a 3-month rally after such a kind of a massive breakout.
But Kunal, you know, typically there is that safe haven nature attached to gold, right? Emotionally as an investor. Now, if you look around in the world, there are geopolitical tensions. Yes, India has been an island of safety, but look what's happening around our neighborhood as well. What do you foresee for the US markets? Over there, it's largely a restricted name of 7 to 10 stocks in the US equities, which have taken those markets higher. Correct. Do you sense that, I mean, it's for everyone to know and see that they're in that bubble territory. Do you see that bubble breaking? Do you see those signs on the NASDAQ, on the S&P 500?
So, you know, yes, they're in some sort of a frothy environment. I'll not say a bubble scenario.
Okay.
Because, you know, Aisha, you look at the last 400, 500 years of history, whether it started off with tulip bubble and then South Sea bubble and so on and so forth, you could not time it precisely that what time the bubble is going to prick.
Yeah.
There are times when bubbles have lasted for 5, 7, 10, 15 years before these bubble pricks. And of course, then they go into generational bear markets. We just hope that we don't enter such kind of a scenario and the bubble gets pricked very quickly. But then we don't know how long can this rally start off. And, you know, the best of the rallies or the returns actually get made if in that bubble territory, because that exponential return happens for every asset class in that kind of a scenario. So
you're saying that the US equity markets will be intact, and at the same time gold and silver will also shoot up even further from here?
Yeah, so we did a, you know, sum total of all the global markets, and you know, we came to a very interesting analysis over there. We looked at the Chinese market, the Hong Kong market, Japanese market, and you would not believe that they are now entering into a 13 to 14 year of a bull market period. And the rally is just started off. I think this is the second year of the rally, which I believe is...
But China is just barely
China and
started,
Japan.
Yeah.
So you're talking of another 8-10 years of a potential major bull market before these indices go into maybe some kind of a frothy scenario. So in that scenario, you might have 1 or 2 countries or geographies underperform. But then from here on, for the next 10-15 years, I see a major green run.
So will India underperformance in correlation to China in the last 2 years, or Hong Kong or US, will that remain, or India will play catch up?
See, I think so just to put it very simply, in the last 12 months, why Indian markets have underperformed? Because there's been a new bull market which has been born somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a natural flow of money, that the money has to move from a highly overperforming market to, say, potential bull markets over there. Now, once that settles in, once the flow settles in, you would eventually see that the money will start scaling across all the markets, all the geographies. And I think in that sense, India will also get its fair share potentially over the next couple of quarters. So that misalignment which was there over the last 12 months or so, I believe that that should be corrected itself over the next 6-12 months. And if you're looking at another 5-10 years of a major Asia or the East Asian bull market going on, it's bound to be a point where India will get its fair share.
Do you have a target for gold for next one year? Let me ask him that question.
So, start of this
2
calendar
lakhs,
year,
3 lakhs?
start of this calendar year, I had kept 1,68,000 as a target for silver. Aisha, if you remember one of our discussions.
Yeah, I didn't believe you even then. I better believe you now. Yeah.
I actually believe that potentially same time, maybe next year, we could be looking at 2,50,000 for silver.
And gold?
So proportionally very similar.
Okay.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a break. We'll need some time to digest these levels. But yeah, India is rapidly expanding its AI capabilities as well through government initiatives and a strong startup ecosystem as well, and global partnerships. But how is it that market honchos like Madhusudan Kela, Ramesh Damani are looking into this very newly emerged space? Here out their opinion.
Which are really, and this is not, I'm not talking from a 12-month perspective, but maybe from a slightly longer-term perspective, the companies which are really going to benefit out of this AI usage. Because that is something which we all of us are experiencing, that it is coming, right? Even in my own office, I'm experiencing that how AI is actually making us more and more efficient. So we have to look for companies which will benefit disproportionately, and they will not have to pass on the benefit immediately. So this will be one segment which I think could come out as a big winner.
You know, my feeling by interacting with promoters at AGMs or meeting them or going to analyst meet is there's a underlying optimism about business conditions in India. So I think there are lots of opportunities in India. Maybe not AI specific, though AI will of course change the world and will change America for sure. And India will have a lot of use cases for AI. But in terms of actually rolling out products for AI, we might be behind the curve.
Where do you see gold headed?
One doesn't know. The trend is your friend till the end when it bends.
Okay.
So they, you know, like
Shairi.
for me, gold, when I remember in the breakouts there, I thought 3,200 was a great area, and today it's at 4,000 plus. So in that sense of the term, you know, that those times where consolidations and targets were there, it's well past that. It is parabolic in nature.
Blue sky territory.
Yeah, and when asset classes, you know, cross your targets, they are still continue without corrections, you definitely know that, hey, there is a mega trend at play. So there is a mega trend at play at gold. As I said, corrections will come. One may look stupid being bullish in gold on some days, some weeks, some months. But what it's telling you is that it is more structural in nature. There are many asset classes. Even silver did a very big catch up. Another industrial metal is copper. If you look at copper also, you will find that, you know, they're at levels which we have never seen. And commodities very often have super cycles. These super cycles last much longer. So a lot happening outside Indian equities.
back with Muhurat Trading, and on this very auspicious note, we've got a double roll. We managed to catch Vijay Kedia at the National Stock Exchange, and now he's here to grace us with his presence. Welcome to एक गाने से होना चाहिए ना?
गाने से होना चाहिए।
गाने से ही शुरुआत ही म्यूजिकल होनी चाहिए।
तो मेरा एक नया गाना है कि ऐ मेरे भारतवासी।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, गा के।
सबको मालूम पड़ जाएगा कि मैं ऑटो ट्यूनिंग कराता हूँ।
टीजर।
ऐ मेरे भारतवासी, चलो उठो करो तैयारी, अब समय हमारा आया, अब आई अपनी बारी। ये मैसेज है दिवाली का।
Wow. But Bharatwasi have had faith in the markets because the DIIs, the SIP figures, सिर्फ उन्हीं को विश्वास था versus FIIs. वो कब वापस आएंगे?
तो वो मैंने उसके लिए गाना लिखा ना, मैंने आयशा पहले भी, पुराना गाना है मेरे, कभी DI, कभी FI, इन्फ्लेशन, कभी तेल, कभी डॉलर, कभी बारिश, इन सब का है ये खेल। टेंशन के हैं कई नाम यहाँ, जरा हटके जरा बच के, शॉर्ट टर्म में मेरी जान। लॉन्ग टर्म आप देखोगे तो FI क्या है इन लोगों का, ये तो ऐसे ही आते जाते रहेंगे। FI चलेगी, इवन देन आफ्टर वी आर नियर न्यू हाई, ऑल टाइम हाई।
26,000 के पास है।
टेल्स इटसेल्फ कि अभी व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ FI नाउअडेज। तो वो सब तो ठीक है सब।
बट विजय, मुझे याद है पिछली दिवाली आपने बोला था दैट लुक आउट फॉर चाइना, एंड यू डिड टॉक अबाउट कि you know you are putting some money in China. China has also done well. Do you think that trade will stay? Because this entire FI money is all about relative outperformance, right?
Exactly.
So money moving out from one country to the other. So you think China trade will still be intact?
I think I have invested in Chinese ETF listed at stock exchanges, Indian stock exchanges, and by grace of God, they have really done well. Maybe 40-50% higher than than last year. And I think the story of China has just begun. Economy story has already begun 20-30 years back. But still Chinese stocks compared to stocks, even IT stocks or we do not have any as such any technology product stocks in India. Let me be very fair about it, right? So let's compare the Chinese stocks which are better than, could be some of the stocks are, some of the technologies better than even the US technologies. So they are still cheaper than what price we are giving here in India. So I think it's a long runway for Chinese stock market. I think the Chinese stock market made a high, still hasn't crossed the high it made in 2008. You know, still 30-40% cheaper than 2008, and just calculate 16-17 years of lagging behind. So I think it's a long story, long haul.
You know,
but coming back to FIs, if I may, Vijay, give us a sense of whether this will be the year where FIs will make a comeback, whether that FOMO feeling for FIs will actually drive them back into India, and if that is so, what are the sectors which will outperform? How should you play that theme?
So I personally feel, of course, FIs ultimately they are going to come back. I don't know what the timing, maybe they will come now or maybe after 3 months or 4 months. So that's a different issue. I don't know about that. And I think the second thing you asked about
what will be the theme that you can play FI money coming back? So, how should one play?
So I have never invested looking at what FIs are going to do, and whenever I have bought any shares, there were no FIIs, and later on, of course, they came in, to buy. So I don't care about them whether what stocks they are, which sectors they are going to come into. But of course, everybody, like as an investor, and for FI, let me tell you, FIs like India, like suppose I have 20 stocks in my portfolio. For FIIs, India is a one portfolio, one shares in their portfolio. So that is why they will exit here, then go to China, exit here, go to Korea, they will exit here, go to somewhere else. So it depends on, of course, they should, like as an investor, I am looking for the sector which I call sunrise sector. So of course, FIs will also feel the same. So they should be coming.
क्या है वो sunrise sector India का भी? क्या sunrise sector है India का भी?
India का मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे को ये PSU बैंक जो है ना, वो मेरे को इतने cheap लगते हैं कि they are available at a throwaway price. PSU's banks. I'm not talking about HDFC or Kotak Bank and all these private banks. They could also be cheaper. I don't invest there. But the PSU's banks, some of the banks are really very cheap, and they have got liquidity also. You know, and they have growth also. 13% on an average they are going to grow, And as the economy will progress, I think that credit growth should also may go up to 15, 16, 70%, which is reasonably very, it's a lucrative, for reason for them to come in. So I find PSU, and look at what is happening in RBL Bank, now what is happening in Federal Bank, now again they are on 24, they are also going to announce somebody is going to invest. So I think this sector is a sunrise industry. Why are you laughing, bhai?
Because he agrees with you.
Someone investing in Federal Bank. So
So I think that sector is a sunrise sector, plus tourism and plus I think hospital industries are also should do well. तो जो शेयर्स नहीं लेगा वो बेचारा जो अच्छा खाएगा तो होटल जाएगा, जो खराब खाएगा वो हॉस्पिटल जाएगा.
दोनों केस में फायदा है. बस गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर एंड आप तो एक डायमंड पहन के आए आज.
ये लैब वाला डायमंड है भाई, लैब डायमंड है. ये पता नहीं चलता है डायमंड और ये भी गोल्ड है कि रोल्ड गोल्ड है, पता नहीं चलता है. आई विल टेल यू द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस पियर्सिंग. दिस इज व्हाट यू वांट टू आस्क. फॉरगेट अबाउट दिस डायमंड and I think it is totally euphoria going on in gold and silver. Ultimately, it's going to die down. This is what I think it's a long haul. Again, gold and silver, I think they will keep on growing. But currently, there is a euphoria. And why did I all this piercing and all? Because I read in बचपन में बोलते थे ना कि एक कान से सुनो, दूसरे कान से निकालो. Nowadays, so many tips are coming every day. कभी startup का, कभी primary market, कभी secondary market का. So I thought कि why not listen from here? Entry और exit के बीच में mind आ जाता है. तो कुछ लोगों को दिमाग में रह जाता है. तो I just got pierced here कि इधर से सुना, इधर से निकाल दिया वापस. So it doesn't go into my head.
But you're not bullish on gold and silver in that sense.
I am holding gold and silver ETF. I am holding SGB, which government has already closed down.
Redemption.
And silver ETF also I am having, which is by grace of God giving me very handsome returns. Silver has doubled, gold has also doubled. If an average on an average, if I calculate in 3-4 years, whatever it is. I'm not a seller at this price. I'm not a buyer at all at this price. So this is what I feel. Maybe now silver touched 200,000 in the physical market. अभी वापस 2 लाख होएगा तो मैं थोड़ा ETF बेच दूंगा. वापस कुछ अगर बात हो. Otherwise it's a long term thing. This is what my mom.
But Vijay, you're a stock picker, right?
Yeah.
So
but आपने लैब ग्रोन डायमंड्स की बात की, तो ज्वेलरी स्टॉक्स का क्या होगा अगर सब लोग लैब ग्रोन के पीछे जाएंगे तो?
ज्वेलरी स्टॉक का क्या होगा?
हाँ.
अब होगा क्या? वो भी लैब लगाना चालू कर देंगे. इसमें क्या है अभी? अल्टीमेटली जो फैशन हो जाएगा, जो ट्रेंड होएगा, उसमें अल्टीमेटली दे हैव टू अडॉप्ट दैट. नो, आप अपना नहीं लगा सकते हो कि नहीं मैं तो यही बेचूंगा, वो बेचेगा तो आउट हो जाएगा. अल्टीमेटली नाउ दिस इज व्हाट टाइम इज टेलिंग अस दैट डायमंड्स आर फॉर नेवर. अर्लियर इट वाज मर्लिन मोनरो टोल्ड अस, फूल्ड अस कि डायमंड्स आर फॉर एवर. सो नाउ दिस इज साइंस इज प्रूविंग दैट डायमंड्स आर फॉर नेवर.
So what is forever other than PSU banks right now?
Share market.
That's what I'm saying. You're a stock picker. Give us some Diwali ideas. Where should one hunt?
अरे but simply आपको दे दिया. You don't have value to that. I said public sector banks.
Other than that.
As I'm joking, yeah. So public sector. Other than I think tourism industry is a sunrise industry. You know, if you remember earlier 2-3 years, we had been discussing about some airline company where I'm invested since 2022 or something like this.
जिनकी baggage service से आप काफी नाखुश हैं. We track all your moves.
नहीं वो तो सदा दिवाली संत की आठों पहरा आनंद. अभी क्या कर रहे हैं? तो ठीक है. So I still feel that tourism industry is going to play out in a very big way, not big way but consistently in India. So it's a sunrise industry, and as I have always said on many platforms, I have always said that India has all the ingredients to become a tourist hub. You know, medical tourism, religious tourism. You have got snow, you have Registan, you have desert, you have greenery, you have architecture, you have mandir, you have so many things we have. You know, so ultimately all the government have also realized that now this is the another GDP enabler. You know, so economy can boost the economy. And so I think now this sector should do well.
But usme, Vijay, do you stick with the market leaders when you talk about tourism, your hotel, aviation, etc.? Do you stay with the leader, or do you also play the bottom-up stories?
No, so I am not invested in any hotel shares because they are comparatively expensive. I have invested in one airline company which has a monopoly, almost monopoly, having 63-64% market share.
एक ही तो ठीक से चल रही है listed इंडिया में. एक ही listed ठीक से चल रही है.
हाँ, एक दूसरा भी है. तो हाँ, डेढ़ company listed, 1.5 you can say as on date. So it keeps on changing. That is all right. So but it's not a cheap share, let me tell you. But it will always remain expensive. Because where do you have visibility, yeah, this company is going to do well, this sector is going to do well, everybody will come to invest. You know, so you won't get cheaper like कि भाई कोई आपको 10-15 लूट का माल मिलेगा, वो टाइम चला गया, अभी लूट का माल नहीं है यहाँ पे.
Would you play the theme through other ways also? Maybe baggage, certain baggage stocks are listed, luggage stocks, etc. Would you play those themes as well? And some of these themes that you spoke about in travel, would you buy it at this point? Or would you wait and watch, allow the theme to play out a little bit and then thereafter buy it? Are valuations comfortable is what I'm trying to understand from you.
So maybe at this price, because I don't generally do this thing, stock has already gone up 3 times than what I had bought from my price. So usually I don't do this thing, कि वापस ले लूँगा, then my average will become high, you know. So that, because as I said, that stock is not cheap, it's expensive.
Yes.
So anytime, suppose if something happens, you know, for external reasons, not because of the company, something suppose happens, and market goes down, my stock, I will maybe, if it depreciates 30-40% अगर गिरता है, I am back to pavilion.
Correct.
So I wouldn't do that, but I wouldn't sell it also.
And baggage stock, luggage related
stocks, of course, they
plays.
should also do well. It's a proxy to what tourism I am talking about, no doubt about it. But there are few companies are listed. One got sold out. VIP has got sold out. Safari is very good company, but not cheap. So now it depends on you that you like a tea at the dabri, क्या बोलते हैं, सड़क पे मिलता है.
Chai tapri.
टपरी में you like or you want to have in 5-star hotel आयशा bill pay करे तो 5-star में जाओगे.
मैंने टपरी बोला. You are saying 5-star.
टपरी तो मेरे लिए बोला आपने.
ठीक है. 1 5-star chai for you.
Thank you.
On that note,
Diwali.
we'll take a very quick break, but here at what Ramesh Damani has to say about whether gold is an attractive investment opportunity for the long haul or not.
In 93, if you bought an ounce of gold, it was like $400 an ounce of gold. At the same time, you invested in an IPO of a company called Infosys. You bought 100 shares for 9,500 rupees. It came out IPO of 95 rupees. Today, that 100 shares of Infosys, that gold is still 1 ounce, 40 years later. But 100 shares of Infosys, how many shares have become? Can you take a guess? How many shares of that 100 shares of Infosys with splits, bonuses, how many shares has that become today? This is, for, I think, 30 years later. Take a guess. Well, I'll tell you this thing. It's over 3 lakh shares,
Okay.
Aisha. It's over 3 lakh shares, the amount of bonuses and splits that you 3 lakh shares. But here's the math that gets crazy. The 3 lakh shares at 1,500 rupees a price, give or take a few bucks, is worth 45 crores in your portfolio. So that 10,000 has become 45 crores. But that's not even the most exciting story. The most exciting story is that every year you get a dividend on 3 lakh shares of 1 crore 25 lakhs. Every year on the 10,000 investment, the return on capital is 1 crore 25 lakhs. I can't even do the return on capital investment with that
I don't
share.
know how many zeros that'll come to.
But the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes all that glitters is not gold. It is stocks. And I think it teaches you that stocks should be, it's important to get stocks right, to pick stocks, to hold it for a long period of time and to see businesses mature over time. So I'm saying that, you can say very well that, well, gold has done well in here. It has done well. And if you're a trader or speculator, obviously you should have been in gold out there. But if you're not, there's nothing to fear. I would be buying the common equity because that's where maximum appreciation happens over a period of time. I think long-term CAGR for gold is about 3%. Long-term CAGR for, in dollar terms for US, for Indian equity is about 10-11%. Where would you want to put your money if you're looking at a 10-20-year horizon? It's a no-brainer.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And we're in conversation with none other than ace investor Vijay Kedia. विजय जी ये बताइए कि आपने थोड़े बहुत हॉस्पिटल स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट किए थे. अब हेल्थ केयर एज अ थीम हैज प्लेड आउट वेरी वेल. What next? Should an investor coming in at this point invest in some of the healthcare stocks, or you would say that you'd want to wait and watch for more execution?
Of course, I think they are very expensive. So it's not time to enter all these stocks because, as I said earlier, when the market falls 10-15%, all these stocks may also fall 20-30%. So if you have that kind of appetite, then you should invest. Otherwise, if you are looking only for the bottom, कि भाई मेरे को bottom पे लेने का है, so you should remember that कि top और bottom खाली भगवान झूठे को मालूम है, God and liar. Nobody knows the top and bottom in the market, you know. So, but ultimately, of course, everybody has this, you know, that thing कि अभी मेरे को the moment I buy, the stock should not fall. So I think it's there is a room to fall. So you should have that mindset. Then one should invest. Otherwise, keep yourself away. Whenever you get a reaction in the market, then one can buy.
Mr. Kedia, you know, last year small and mid caps were in flavor. This year we have seen big correction in small and mid cap. Where do you see mid cap and small cap in the next 1 year?
So I'll tell you, I think this is the pattern which is happening in the market since 2008-9 onwards. I have seen this. Now this index is a near all-time high. And as I said earlier, that's all the entire stock market, world stock market is all-time new high already shown. India is only lagging behind. So obviously maybe next week or maybe in few months or few weeks we'll see index going to a new high. But I don't think that small cap and mid cap is going to perform accordingly. They are still cheaper, 30-40%. They are cheaper in the sense below their 2024 peak. I think that catch up is not going to happen soon until unless earnings actually catch up unexpectedly. So you know, so I think that that gap will remain there. So this is what again one thing retail investors should know. I written one song 2-3 years back. The same thing had happened then. I written one song कि तेरा Nifty all-time high, फिर भी मेरा शेयर आधा.
We don't understand only
Without
lyrics.
tea, how can I sing? ये बता आप खाली गवा बच्चे की जान लेगा. तो anyway, तेरा Nifty all-time high, फिर भी मेरा शेयर आधा. फिर भी मेरा शेयर आधा. So I'm going to sing this song later
As
on.
haunting as the returns. But
sir, if I can ask you, जो earnings re-rating anticipate किया जा रहा है, do you think that that will come fairly quickly? Because all the measures are in place, all the macro measures are in place. Now I know that earnings need to, what you were suggesting was earnings need to surprise on the upside, but I'm just saying, do you expect earnings growth to pick up? That's the basic question I'm trying to get.
No, if people are expecting that the economy is going to rise faster, suppose, so I think that is also in the price.
Sure.
This is personally, I feel I may be wrong, and I would be happy if I really go wrong into this. But I think that will take some time. It is not going to happen overnight. You know, कि अभी कल से economy चल गया, इतना बढ़ गया, तो अभी तुरंत वो balance sheet में आ जाएगा. It will take time. So one needs to keep patience.
But the one space which has been the most buoyant has been the IPO market.
Oh.
The crazy and the frenzy over there, not just on listing day, but just subscriptions itself, and some marquee names which have actually found their way, broadening the market. उसके बारे में आपका क्या view है?
उसके लिए मैंने पहले गाना लिखा था यार.
Song for every moment.
Every moment. I know you have dialogues for every moment. Yeah?
Every moment.
Bollywood dialogues.
Some other time we will have this jugalbandi.
Yeah, jamming. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Jamming ना? Jamming is right word ना? तो मैंने गाना लिखा था IPO और YPO से बच के रहना तू. पेनी स्टॉक से आ रही है बड़ी बड़ी बू. इतनी सी समझ के बाद आसमां को छू. फिर कभी ना कहना विजय टोका नहीं क्यों. So I'm not saying that all IPOs are bakwas. I'm not saying that, but one has to be very careful the way things are happening in this IPOs market. Of course, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 IPOs are really very good, and they should also do well. But I don't subscribe to that every IPO, because where all these new entrants in the market, new management will bring that corporate जिसको हम बोलते हैं वो governance issue का. Yeah, you have to prove something. They don't know. It takes time people to understand that what is the value of being listed. Just because you want to list your company, just because of the credit worthiness, or you feel that pride in that I am listed at the stock exchange, that is not going to help the investors to make money. So for that you need to have a different mindset and a lot of sacrifice you need to do to get your company listed. So we have to see that kind of phase in the market. So I have never subscribed to any IPO. Of course, I have invested into startups and all. As we discussed, some startups I had invested.
Which segment? Which vertical startups? Cyber security and others?
Yeah, in cyber security I had invested. I invested in one cyber security company in 2016. Tech Infosec Limited, which got listed, and stock price is 10 times than the listing price. So that is an exceptional. What they have done, that is really some wonderful thing they have done. But that does not mean that all the companies will go the same way. One has to understand. One has to discriminate between a good company and a bad company. So this is what message is to people that एक अगर hit अगर हो गया तो सारा का सारा फिर वैसा नहीं निकलने वाला है. तो वो जरा संभाल के संभल के यहाँ पे पाँव रख तू सालों की कमाई मिनटों में हो जाती छू.
Any recent investments you've made in the private space?
I have invested in another cyber security company and one technology company. Nowadays, I am investing in mainly technology company, tech man.
कोई AI company
You know,
में
the
invest करे?
markets heard you, by the way. Small caps are the ones which have given best returns this Muhurat.
Wow.
Today, the
Kya
small
baat
cap index has gained about almost 0.4%. Nifty, sensex,
सब flat
Nifty
है
bank, all a little bit red and flat, really.
अपनी तो
But
दिवाली
any
बन
which way, today is just the Muhurat trade. Tata Motors, HDFC Bank, flat. BEL flat. Tata Steel has done quite okay. 0.5% of a move. And I want to see what the PSU banks or the smaller bank lot has done. Everything from RBL to Federal Bank. All these stocks were in a tizzy, a Bank of India, etc., which recently came out with their earnings as well. And clearly it seems that that's the consensus. That seems to be the cheapest, bait in the market right now that all of our experts seem to be betting on. But yes, you were talking about technology.
Yeah.
And cyber security in the private space.
What about AI space? आपको कोई startup में दिख रहा है कोई AI
company? Air India? हाँ.
Artificial intelligence.
एयर इंडिया में आप ट्रैवल भी नहीं करते, आप तो इंडिगो में ट्रैवल करते हैं.
नहीं, मैं ट्रैवल करता हूँ एयर इंडिया में. It's a disclaimer.
Stock interclaimation.
हाँ, वो अलग बात है, लेकिन मैं ट्रैवल एयर इंडिया में करता हूँ क्योंकि उसमें मेरे को लाउंज वाउंज मिल जाता है, अपग्रेड मिल जाता है, मेरे को महाराजा एकदम वैसे मेरे को मिल जाता है मेरे को. तो ट्रैवल करता हूँ. सॉरी, आपका क्वेश्चन क्या था?
Artificial intelligence company.
AI में, I don't know about AI and all. What I have understood, I have know one thing. As I has given this example somewhere else also, like when this refrigerator was invented or discovered, whatever you call in English, invented or discovered, whatever it is. Now today, as on date, suppose there must be 5,000 refrigerator company in the world which are into manufacturing of refrigerator. But the biggest beneficiary of refrigerator was companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. All over the world under the sun, you will just find two brands. Somewhere Pepsi, somewhere Coca-Cola.
In every fridge.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So that happened because of the invention of refrigerator. So same thing I think it's going to happen in the AI. The guy or the company which are using AI in a intellectually, they will be benefited. So India cannot invent AI so far, I think, as on date today.
IPs nahi hai, you're right.
Yeah, we cannot do. But we can use AI in a meaningful way. So those using AI in a meaningful way to expand their network, to expand for their business will be benefited.
So IT companies,
banks, consumer tech, consumers of AI is what you're betting on basically.
Yeah, consumer of integrating AI into their system or in their business would be benefited.
But power, because everyone is saying that data centers aayenge with advancement in technology, etc. Power lagegi. So maybe
renewable,
power is a great way of playing it.
Renewable power.
Of course, yes. So that is the future. No doubt about it. Solar is the future. If you are talking about power, of course, so future hai, but stocks are not cheap.
So what is cheap other than PSU banks?
प्रभु का नाम. दिवाली का दिन राम का नाम.
उसी बात पे क्लोजिंग गाना.
जो नया गाना बना रहे हैं आप.
कौन सा गाना बना रहे हैं?
एक नया गाना बना रहे हैं. एक बर्डी ने बोला कि अब एक नया गाना.
भाई नया गाना
पे काम कर रहे हैं.
डाल दिया अभी.
बर्डी इज आल्सो चेंज
वाला गाना.
वो तो हो गया यार. अभी इसी का एक वर्ड सुनाता हूँ. देखो ये है, ये अपने निवेश की है. हो पैसों की भी आजादी, समृद्धि की हो अभिलाषा, हो सुखी सुरक्षित जीवन, समझो निवेश की भाषा. ऐ मेरे भारतवासी, ये उसका अंतरा है कि अल्टीमेटली स्टॉक मार्केट में बड़ा पैसा कमाया जा सकता है. 10 साल का फ्यूचर बहुत ब्राइट है यहाँ पे कम से कम. Our economy is booming and we are the fastest growing country in the world, and so many changes are going to happen in the country. You should look out for the sunrise industry, as I said. and you should try to find a cheetah in the jungle, you're not a hathi. कि company is very good, it is doing very well, बहुत अच्छा कमाती है, लेकिन दौड़ नहीं पाती है. तो मेरे को उसमें पैसा नहीं मिलेगा भाई. मेरे को चीता में पैसा मिलेगा जो भूखा बैठा है और शिकार करने के लिए तैयार है. ऐसा चीता दौड़ेगा उस पे अगर मैं करूँगा, then I can do well for myself.
कुणाल, ऐसा चीता दिख रहा है कोई चार्ट्स पे जो इतना भागेगा?
I think there are so many which have run up. Now, Paytm, for example, has run up. L&T Finance, NBFC stocks. I think these stocks have done phenomenally well, and you didn't expect them to do well.
Don't tell me what's done well. Tell me what will do well.
Let's see how the market pans out.
No resting cheetah right now, other than gold and silver.
कोई पेड़ के ऊपर अभी बैठा नहीं है चीता.
पर विजय जी, प्लेटफॉर्म कंपनीज पे आपका क्या राय है?
आपको लगता है वो चीता है आगे बहुत भागेगा?
नहीं, वो चीता नहीं मालूम है, वो घोड़ा चलता रहेगा. वो ऐसा नहीं है कि उसका कोई 100 मीटर का मैराथन का घोड़ा है, वो लंबी रेस का 4000 मीटर की रेस का घोड़ा है वो, तो वो चलता रहेगा उसके अंदर में. बट स्टॉक्स आर नॉट चीप एंड नथिंग इज चीप, लेट मी टेल यू, एज आई सेड. तो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन किधर यू आर गेटिंग मेंटल कंफर्ट कि हाँ भाई, इवन इफ इट इज नॉट चीप, इवन इफ इट इज फॉल 20-30% फ्रॉम द प्राइस आई हैव बॉट, इवन देन आई वॉन्ट लूज माई स्लीप एट नाइट, then you can invest. But as I said that this public sector banks, आप तो चार्टिस्ट जाने माने चार्टिस्ट, आप देखिए पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक में अच्छा फॉर्मेशन बन रहा है कई कंपनियों के अंदर में. आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दिस jargons, लेकिन राउंडिंग बॉटम, हेड एंड शोल्डर, ये सब वो सब.
I know little bit. कुणाल की तो जापानीज नाम है कुशाल. Which one does it? Ichimoku.
Ichimoku Maru Bozu.
Yes.
क्या है? एक दारू का नाम है. देखो यामाजाकी सुना, यामाजाकी क्या है? वो इचिमो.
Yamakazi.
Yes,
Yamakazi. Yeah. But ये chat patterns हैं Japanese. कुणाल लेता है मास्टर क्लास.
क्या बात है, वेरी गुड. ठीक है यार, एडमिशन के लिए रेकमेंड करना थोड़ा सा.
उसके लिए आपको एक और क्लोजिंग आना, and then we will let you go and we will admit you to Kunal's master class.
किसी को भी तो ना समझ में तू आए, तू बढ़ता बढ़ता क्यों गिर जाए, ये 90% लोग क्यों पैसे गवाए, जो सोचा समझा खूब समझ में आए, जो लेके गए बैठ वो ही तो है कमाए. आंखों को खोलो भैया, थोड़ा तो समझो भैया, 10 में से 9 लोगों का खोता ट्रेडिंग में रुपया. लगता है सीधा साधा पर है ये भूल भुलैया, कोई भी बच ना पाया BACA या अम्बैया, तुम ही अपनी किस्मत के आखिर में हो रचैया.
That was amazing, and thank you for making our Diwali so musical today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Keep smiling, keep singing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and on that note, it's time to bid adieu on this very special Muhurat Trading as well. Thank you all of our viewers for continuing to show your support and fondness for ET Now. Thank you so much once again. Here's wishing you and all your families and near and dear ones a very happy, healthy and prosperous and profitable Diwali, most of all, from all of us here. And as we wind down on this show, hear it out from market veterans sharing their views on various sectors that they like and are betting on for Samvat 2082.